2023, a very difficult year in real estate when buyers and sellers had a very difficult time. Real estate agents left the industry. We experienced high interest rates, high inflation, and overall, a lot of ups and downs. So let's review this year and how it compares to the previous 4 years. We'll be reviewing the 5-year market trend analysis for Williamson County. Welcome to the Cruz Group, a place where we discuss market trends, market statistics, and we dive deep into what's happening in real estate. This is a very interesting episode, and 2023 was full of bad news. So let's see how this really play out and how this compares to the previous 4 years. Make sure that you stay tuned all the way to the end. Let's kick off the discussion by reviewing the number of home sales in Williamson County. As you can see very clearly from the graph, the orange line, it's the last year, 2023. And at the end of the year, it ended at the lowest number of home sales compared to the previous 4 years. This is typical to see the real estate market typically pick up during the spring and the summer, but it normally slows down a little bit towards the end of the year. And that's kind of what we see for the previous years, except for 2020, which is when COVID hit, but then it quickly, drastically changed and it started selling a lot of homes during the COVID era. And that continued on 2020, 2021, but that at the beginning of 2022 as well. But then we were at this point, at the beginning of 2022, we were at really low interest rates. I mean, we were in the high 2s or low 3s. But then what happened during April and May of 2022? Well, the interest rates doubled. And when that happened, the number of transactions was reduced. So we can see that very clearly here on the light blue line, how the number of home sales was drastically reduced. And then that, overall 2023 was the same way. 2023, we experienced high interest rates throughout the whole year, and we can see it very clearly here in the number of home sales. The median sales price, this is my favorite graph, and I'm really gonna spend a few more minutes here analyzing this graph. You heard a lot of bad news in 2023. That was very common to see. People were complaining about the interest rates, but then check the median sales price. See what happened. I see a 2023 being very flat. Why do I want to spend more time here? Because everybody's talking about a market crash. Everybody was talking about how bad the market was. And yes, as you saw in the previous graph, the number of transactions was drastically reduced in 2023. But the price was not affected as much. Typically in real estate, we see a normal appreciation of 3 and 4%. That's very normal. That's been the case in Austin for many, many years. But then these past 4 years, past 5 years, you can see how 2019, the green line here in the graph, it started at $274,000 and it finished at $286,000. What happened in COVID, when COVID hit? That's 2020. We can see here on the red graph, we started the year at $278,000 and we finished the year at $326,000. This is a slightly, larger increase. We saw a 17%, roughly about a 17% increase in the median sales price. All right, because COVID brought more demand, and a lot of people were now wanted to buy homes. They wanted a larger backyard. People were spending more time in their homes, and they really wanted a different space. What happened in 2021? As we can see here, this is the dark blue line. Okay. We started the year at $323,000 in Williamson County, and we finished at roughly $450,000. And this is an increase of 39% increase for 2021. We've never seen this before, right? And it's not repeating anymore, right? That was a one-time thing, but that was a market where it was really crazy. Homes were selling off the shelf in the first weekend. That changed in 2022. So 2022, again, it started really strong because the rates were still low at the beginning of 2022. And this is the light blue line here. But then it finished, everything that went up kind of went down. So it did ended up finish a little bit lower than what it started at. And we experienced a 4% decrease on the median sales price. Not too bad, all right?
and it's understandable, right? This was caused by the high interest rates that happened in 2022. But what happened about 2023? All we heard on the news was really bad news about the high interest rates, about inflation, and about a lot of agents leaving the industry. Everywhere you will look, there were bad news about 2023. But it only experienced a 3% decrease in price. So what happened? Is this a market crash that everybody was talking about? Is this what's gonna crash the market? Everybody that was waiting to buy a house because they were waiting for that market to crash? I see here a 3% decrease. Overall, the first 3 years, 2019, 2020, and 2021, when we experienced all these high appreciations, overall, that went up to roughly 64% appreciation, 64% in 3 years, okay? And then what happened with the high interest rate, high inflation, all this bad news that we hear, and this market crash, and the recession, and everything that we heard, well, that only caused the market to come down, the median sales price to come down up roughly about 7%, which is what we experienced on 2022 and 23 combined. So overall, it's not the end of the world. I mean, sellers still have a lot of appreciation on their homes. So who knows what's going to happen this year in 2024? Nobody really knows. But we're expecting the rates to come down because of the elections and the inflation being under control a little bit more. Okay, so nobody really knows, but I'm here to guide you during the process. Let's move on to the next one. The next graph here is the average sales price. And overall, it looks very similar to the median sales price. All right, we experienced a pretty flat year last year in 2023. It started off 2023 at around $485,000 and it finished at around $473,000. So not too bad for the high appreciation that we experienced during the first 3 years. So sellers out there, I think used to have a lot of equity in your homes. I think now with the rates coming down, there might be more options for you to open up to the possibility of selling your home, right? Obtaining all this equity that you have built during these past few years, and then maybe transferring that equity to the next house, a house that maybe will fit your needs better. Next up here is the total number of listings. As you can see, this crazy graph, this light blue line that we just see shooting up. Well, let's talk about 2022. What happened in 2022? 2022, we started with a low interest rate, right? We were at the 2 and 3% at the beginning of 2022. What happened in April and May? Well, the interest rates double. And we can see the total number of listings. We were at a point where only in January of 2022, we were only in the whole Williamson County, we only had 315 listings, active listings. That's very low, and that drastically changed when the rates double. And then, so what happened? The rates double. All these existing homes were still on the market because nobody was really buying a house because of the high interest rates and the high payments. Plus, all the new ones that we normally get during the spring and the summer, we get a whole bunch of new listings, as you can see on the graphs. So all this combined really caused the total number of listings to remain active, and that was the highest point. That was when nobody was really buying real estate because of the high interest rates, and we had all this accumulation of listings. 2023 was a little bit more reasonable, I think. It's a more balanced market. 2023 was a year where it did go up during the summer, and then it normally, as it normally does, it slows down a little bit towards the end of the year. But there was still a lot of activity happening and a lot of listings, but not too bad. I think this is definitely a balanced market. And finally, let's discuss the monthly inventory. Again, this is a very similar graph compared to the number of listings that we saw before, but it's interesting to point out that we started the year in 2023 at 2.5 months of inventory, and we ended the year at 2.5 months of inventory. Very balanced market. Many people will say, and you probably heard before, that anything from anything lower than 4 months of inventory, it's a seller's market, and a balanced market will be 5 and 6 months of inventory, more of a balanced market, and then anything higher than 7 months will be a buyer's market. I don't really agree with that. I think in Austin, generally, 1, 2, and anything lower than 3 months of inventory is still more of a seller market. Okay, once you get to higher than 3 months, I think or closer to 3 months, I think it's a very balanced market. 3, 4 months is very balanced in my opinion, and then you get to 5 months or more, that's definitely a buyer's market. That's when the buyers have more advantage. Right now, being at 2.5 months of inventory, I think that this in Williamson County is very healthy, where sellers still have an advantage. They can still get a lot of equity. They can still negotiate. They don't have to agree to anything, that the buyers are asking for. But then at the same time, the buyers, they have more negotiation power. At the same time, they have to be reasonable with their offer. You cannot just ask, hey, I'm gonna submit an offer for 30, 40,000 below asking. That's typically not gonna work out in this market because again, we're on a very, very balanced market where the sellers are still, able to negotiate on their behalf. So so overall, I think this is a very healthy market. 3 months of inventory, I think it's, both parties have really an advantage here. Well, thank you, my friends. Thanks for staying tuned all the way to the end. I hope this video was useful to you, and I think it kind of painted a very good picture of how 2023, it looked overall. In my opinion, it's a very balanced market overall. Yes, we have a lot more inventory than we used to, but it's still within, it's still within 3 months of inventory. Yes. It was a very difficult year for a lot of real estate agents because the number of transactions was really low compared to the previous 4 years, but the median sales price remained very flat as well, and the average sales price remained flat. So I think Austin is really sustaining the high interest rates. They're able to sustain because of the demand. Over 194 people move to Austin every single day. They need a place to live. So that really creates, people are still moving from other states, from New York, from California, from other places are still moving into Austin. So I think that's kind of what's keeping the prices stable in Austin. So I think this video is really nice to see how it compares everything. So if you like this video, make sure that you like and subscribe. And please go ahead and share the video if you find it useful. Put any comments if there's anything that you would like to see, any of the market trends, any statistics that you would like me to really discuss. Make sure that you put that in the comments. So I'll see you guys until the next video. I'll see you next month when we discuss January of 2024, and let's see how the year is gonna start. So stay tuned for the next future videos.